The big issue that I have is we're going up against midterms soon, and beating Trump over the head over an 8-week conflict, right? I'm not going to do because the Democrat alternative is so much worse, which is why we voted for him the first time, knowing the guy was a
Action hands the Democrats the win anyway because the independent voter will not like this. You understand, it's cause and effect. He's created the solution that's going to cause the Democrats to rise. If he didn't go to war, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, okay, hang on a second. Let's separate a couple of issues here. So issue 1, is it possible that people are going to punish Trump because of the action in Iran? Yes, sure. I'm not disagreeing that that could happen. Am I going to go out there and advocate that you vote Democrat or push towards Democrats in any way, shape, or form due to a 7-week action in Iran? The answer is unequivocally no. Democrats are the worst, most horrific, demonic entities on planet Earth. And Trump has had some major wins domestically. Like it or not, that is the case. And we at least have the inertia on the right now. We at least have that. So that's good, and especially socially, that's good. But I'm not going to back away from Trump heading into the midterms over this conflict. No way. Doesn't mean I support the conflict, but I'm not going to do that.
Does this look like another COVID to you? Because that's why I'm majorly against it. It looks like another COVID/Ukraine. You know, it's this thing that we're going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on that's going to cause global economic markets and manufacturing everywhere to be destabilized and destroyed. No fertilizer, expensive diesel, expensive gasoline. It's not like you say it's a 7-week conflict. Like it's just, it's this thing that's happening. It's not just this thing that's happening. It's disturbed the entire planet. It's a black swan event. So to just kind of say, well,
hang on, back up real quick. Let's clarify some terms. What's a black swan event? What do you consider that to be?
something like a COVID, something that comes in that disrupts and disturbs the market to a great extent.
That's all a black swan event is something that disturbs the market?
The word Lord, I'm sorry, tell me, teach me, great master.
I'm just asking you to clarify that because I don't understand what you mean by it. That's all.
It's a black swan event. He's destroying the global economy by doing this. Like that's just
Okay, so a black swan event is something which is disrupting the global economy. That's what you mean by that?
Sure, in this context.
Okay. Go ahead. Me clearing up what you're saying is so that I understand thoroughly your position, not because I'm trying to play word games with you, bro.
I can give you guys
know what a black swan event
I can
is.
give you guys the textbook definition.
Well, my understanding of a black swan event was that there was some sort of utilization towards an existing crisis, but I could be wrong. That's why I'm asking you what you meant by it.
The actual
read the
definition for you guys.
definition?
So, a
No.
black swan event is an extremely rare, unpredictable occurrence with massive, widespread
go.
impact, and that is what the definition says.
So a widespread, unpredictable event. And then I think that generally people are taking advantage of that. So like I always thought the idea of a black swan, if you look
Are
at
they
like
not
Hurricane Katrina, for instance, it eliminates all of the like fishing vessels. You were able to make some prediction that that was going to happen based on the fact that we can't predict exactly when, but you could bet on the market that it will. And so you reap a big windfall. It's like something along those lines, not just that there's a disturbance in the global economy.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are reaping off this conflict. The military-industrial
Agree.
complex is making a lot of money off of
So
this.
are market speculators. I agree.
Well, is that the cause of the conflict, or is it Trump dropping bombs?
It's definitely Trump dropping. Yeah.
Well, that's what we take issue with, right? And I think you're also against that.
Yeah. So why are we here arguing?
Fair enough.
So,
Well,
Andrew,
let's not be around.
if you have the position, I understand your position very clearly. I just want to understand the Democrats are the biggest fear factor. What would be your solution to the current situation if you were saying it's only in the Republican?
I'm going to explain this to you, and this is a thing I advocate for all the time. And if you're familiar with my content, you would know this. The Marxism infiltration, which happened in the 30s through the 50s in the United States, it took them about 50 years to really get the ground under them. And then with the radicalization, which happened in the 70s, which gave them a huge push. This is not going to be fast. None of this is going to be fast, and unfortunately, we live in a cheeseburger society where you cruise into McDonald's and you want your quarter pounder with extra cheese, and if they don't give it to you, you go back and complain. That ain't politics. This is going to be a gradual foundational shift in the United States. It's going to take 50, 60 years, and what you do is you take one piece at a time, just like they did. just like they did. Kirk was close, man. Charlie Kirk was one of the first who was actually pretty close to taking back an institution from the left, which was colleges. He
I
was so close.
that's a great point, and I think that's also why he died ultimately, is like you take out that head of that new political organic machine that was built, and he had over 1,000 different campaigning offices, and you can basically push whatever message you want through that. So
Yeah, I'm telling you right now that the gradual idea of power is what Marxists have banked on forever. We have a very patient enemy. They don't care. Okay. They will wait in the weeds for, they're like the Sith, man. It's like they really are. They'll wait 1,000 years before they strike. That's the way that this enemy thinks. They did it gradually over the span of 100 years. You think that you're going to undo all of that, to eliminate the deep state? You're going to change amendment policy for universal suffrage in a single or two terms of a president? That's wishful thinking, and it's naive. What we have to do is take the small incremental progress over time and continue it.
what evidence is there that nothing that everything that's being done right now expands government power? Like that's what you're talking about, is being afraid of government power being expanded, and I agree that is a huge problem. I mean, the same thing could be said in the military usage as well right now. Like this is
I'm not a libertarian. Government expansion of power is not my primary concern. I'm a Christian nationalist. I have a different view on what government power is. All government is force, and all rights boil down to force. And if you want your rights enforced, you're going to need to have a substantially good sized government. And that's that. Because you, unfortunately, have all sorts of property that I'm sure that you want protected. And you have contracts that you want protected. And you have contract law that you want protected. And you have kids that you want protected. And you want 24-hour security from the government all day long.
government. The problem is when the government takes us to war. That's the
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a downside of having a commander in chief through the separate branches of power of government who has the authority under Article 2 to do that.
only Congress has the ability. The 1973 War Powers Act, that's about to run out on Trump because we're still in a conflict here.
Congress has the power of the purse, and they have the power to make laws. The president of the United States has always unilaterally been the commander in chief, going back to Washington.
Or
Washington raised an army in the Whiskey Rebellion to collect whiskey taxes.
declare war.
What?
To declare war. It's not true. Like this is outside of Congress.
Congress can declare. Okay, Jefferson under the Mark and Reprisal. Congress didn't declare war. Jefferson unilaterally made that action. Show me the declaration of war from Congress. That came after.
Domestic conflict.
No, that wasn't domestic. What are you talking about?
Excuse me. All right, I got the things messed up. All right, if you want to make that point, if you want to go back then and say that's the precedent now for the war in Iran, I guess that's your argument. I disagree with it.
No, I'm pointing out to you that the commander in chief has always had broad unilateral power when it came to the military. Washington's actual commission with the Continental Army was commander in chief of the Continental Armed Forces. They kept that over. They wanted the president to be able to make unilateral action quickly because republicanism, this was the big thing from the anti-federalists. They were like, well, how are we going to call up militaries quickly and this and that? One of the compromises was that the president could do that. Congress had the power to back it off through the power of the purse. They could be like, nope, we're not funding the army anymore. Well, that's the end of that. The president can't go to war with no army if Congress defunds it. But the president can use the army, man, and they've been using it since day one.
Powers Act is to curtail that because in 1973 we realized that was a problem.
No, the 1973 War Powers Act does not do anything about the president's unilateral authority as commander in chief of the United States Army. It doesn't do anything about that.
Guys, it's not true.
What?
It's just not. It's not true. There's a time limit on it. He has to get congressional approval for a conflict. It's not true.
He didn't hear what you said.
Okay. Let's make sure I got this right.
90 days. It's 90 days.
90 days. Excuse me. The 1973 War Powers Act. He's going to be in violation of that pretty soon.
To commit armed forces abroad without congressional consent, passed over President Nixon's veto following the Vietnam War. Okay, got it. So now I know what you're referencing. Has nothing to do with my point. My point is that the commander in chief constitutionally has always had the authority to do this. Now you may say, well, Congress passed a restriction in 1973. Fine, you can say that, I guess, but the president has been able to unilaterally, as the commander in chief, do these things since the beginning.
Operations must terminate within 60 to 90 days unless Congress declares war or authorizes an extension. So are you calling for an extension?
What?
That's what the War Powers Act says. He's got 60 to 90 days unless Congress declares war or authorizes an extension.
Why would that have to do with me wanting an extent? What are you talking about? What I'm doing is giving you an overview of presidential authority and power from the constitutional perspective. You're pointing to a law which is passed in 1973.
Watch. You're saying he can do whatever he wants. We're pointing that there's a limit to his power.
I'm pointing out that what'll happen is that this will get challenged in the Supreme Court likely, and what'll happen is they will defer to what the sections and articles of the presidential power in the Constitution likely always was.
It does suck that Trump handed the Democrats impeachments on a golden platter with the war crimes that he committed.
Well, just
I do agree with that.
just to clarify, he actually won't be able to
Wait
get
a second. Wait a second. I'm not letting you get away with that, dude. First of all, you say they handed it to him on a silver platter. They would have impeached him over anything. My proof for that is they impeached him twice before over nothing. They impeached him over the biggest nonsense in the world. His first go around, Russian collusion. It was a crock.
Totally agree. They have a legitimate reason now. That's a problem. Trump gave them a legitimate reason. Isn't that an issue?
What? Wait, it wouldn't matter. Do you
Wow.
understand that? It wouldn't. They would go after him for anything. They would go after him because he put his mayonnaise. Okay. Do you want to go through all the times Democrats have called for Trump's
He's
impeachment?
hurting the Republican Party that you say is the only chance. He's taking actions that hurt the Republican Party by committing war crimes that he doesn't have to commit. He could have even actually done limited strikes. He didn't do that. He targeted civilians and civilian infrastructure deliberately.
Yeah, you can say that you don't like what Trump did and that could hurt his chances and Republican chances going forward. I'm not even going to disagree with that because it doesn't negate my point. My point is very simple, and I'd love to hear it negated. Okay? Democrats, do you agree with me, would have impeached Trump no matter what, whether he went into Iran or didn't go into Iran, whether he pulled out of it with in any treaty or went in with any treaty. They would have impeached him no matter what. Can we at least agree on that?
Sure, they'll declare victory.
What?
They'll declare victory regardless. They'll impeach him regardless.
They'll impeach him regardless. And so the thing is like, I know that this is a fun talking point which came out from Dave Smith. I've seen it circulate quite a bit. I'm not saying that you came up with it through Dave Smith. I'm just saying that I heard it popularized through him.
Fair enough.
The idea of, hey, man, Trump just made it easy for an impeachment. They would have impeached him anyway. And Dave Smith knows it too. They would have impeached his ass no matter what.
Sure, but the impeachment is a process that has to be at least proven. Now, if they have everyone in there, they can just railroad them, and like you say, that is true. Like it would just be impeachment would be
No,
impeachment.
they still
However-
wouldn't get enough votes.
Well, it's
So yeah, they wouldn't. That's
Well-
true.
all right.
That was
At
what
least under the Republicans, they wouldn't get enough votes.
I with both of you guys. Even if you talk about impeachment, you would still need enough of the Democrats and the Republicans to vote. And even if you had the House stacked very heavily Democrat, the probability
We'll see what happens
that he
in
would get impeached
2026.
would be likely zero, just like the first time when they had both the House and the Senate.
What time is it?
It's 8:22. So
All right. Well, here's the thing. Really appreciate you coming on. Again, like I said, like we can disagree, we can do whatever. Wish you long life and God bless you and everything. You know, you're Orthodox especially. So, like, really appreciate you coming.
Well, like I really wish that people wouldn't disingenuously attack me on Twitter without actually knowing my positions, being familiar with my content. And then when we actually do a debate, they just get mercilessly brutalized because they don't know what the they're talking about. That's what I wish, Rex.
True. I don't think that's true, and I think that's an ad hominem attack, and I don't think that that's fair.
I think it's fair. I think that you came after me in an unjustified way for no good reason. And by the way, you could have just sent a DM. Let me ask you this, Rex. Why didn't you just send me a message and just say, hey, Andrew, can I just ask you to clarify a few positions that I'm confused about? Instead, you went right for let's do a debate with word war and this and that. Why'd you do that, man?
because I'd like to debate your position, and I think we've done that tonight. I think we've established
Don't you think you should know the position before you want to debate it?
You come in here and you're using all these terms about getting destroyed and getting obliterated, and you're also saying you're trying to have a good faith conversation. We're trying to have a good faith conversation with you here, and you explain your position. So that's your
No, all that happened at the end of this debate, not during the debate. But I'm not going to let you walk out and be like, hey, man, hey, thanks for coming on the show. I just really wanted to clear this up, because that's not actually what happened. What happened is
position.
you disingenuously took a clip, put it out, assumed the position, attacked me for the position publicly. Then when I come in to defend myself, let's be pals. It's like, why don't you do the right thing here and just say, you know what, Andrew, I'm sorry, man. And you know what, I'll accept your apology.
Or you justify Trump's actions, and like that's all you've done here.
Go.
Is you've said, well,
Yeah.
we better stay on the plantation because Matt
Uh-huh.
there is real mean. That's you've been your entire argument. I disagree with it.
So you're doubling down.
That's your take, man.
So you're gonna double. You're not even gonna bother. You're not gonna be like, hey man,
I
I'm
don't-
sorry about that, Andrew.
You're a public figure the same as I am. You said something during a debate which is disgusting. Sir.
You know what's funny, man, is like I would have been like, you know what, I'm sorry, dude. I got that wrong. I would have done that.
Well, you're the grand moral poobah, and we appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe just in the future, don't be a fucking jerk.
I don't think that's fair, man. And
Well, you're acting like one right now. Why don't you just say that you're sorry and then we can move on?
I don't know, man. You seem to me like you support this war. So like,
No, now we're back to actually, Andrew, I think you do support the war. When 5 seconds ago you were like, you know what, I'm glad you clarified that. So it's like, which one is it, Rex?
now you're saying that I clipped you disingenuously. I didn't clip you disingenuously. So I just don't know where
You
that
did, because we just watched the debate post that, which gave the actual context, and you had nothing.
Well, you support the war because you say it's good to, and you say that's rhetoric used to defeat Owen, so I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm sorry you don't know what an internal critique is, bro. But if you're going to be a debate lord on this new debate channel coming out, then I suggest you learn what an internal critique is, or else you're going to be at the mercy of one. And the problem is, Rex is like, I don't want to hate you, I don't want to dislike you, but it's like, how about you give me a little charitability and you actually at some point are kind of like, I don't know, throw maybe a couple of kind words my way and just say, I got this wrong.
Well, no, because I don't agree. I don't think I got it wrong. So why would I concede that? I'm not
Of
going
course not. Yeah. So then we're back to actually secretly Andrew does support the war in Iran, right?
I think you make justifications, and like you say, no boots on the ground. That's a justification. Like you say, 7 weeks. That's a justification. You gave a lot of justification.
Those aren't justifications for the war. They're only justifications for why I won't pull my support for Trump going into a midterm.
It's just we have to support Trump because the Republicans have to win, so we have to support.
Uh-huh.
So we have to support Trump.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, it's supposed to be circular. That's correct. That's supposed to be circular. Yes, we start with the foundation. Must support Trump, otherwise Democrats are going to win. Democrats way worse than Trump. You're right. It's a total circle. It's almost like I'm starting at the point of justification and circling back to it like I'm supposed to.